Welcome back to Regal Behind the Chair. We have a special guest today. It's a little bit different than the barbershop. It's my man Joel right here. And, you know, he's one of the top criminal defense lawyers in Utah. So I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little about yourself.
Oh, sure. So I've been a lawyer since 2001. Started out went to the law school at University of Utah. It's kind of where I went to undergrad and law school. I was a little bit older. I think I finished law school when I was 30 years old. Had some jobs before that. My first job was a public defender.
With Salt Lake?
With Salt Lake Legal Defenders.
Yeah.
Best job I think I've ever had in my life because of the stories and the adventures and the camaraderie. And it was also the best training ground to be a defense lawyer. In fact, most defense lawyers you've ever heard of or you see on the news that are these veterans, they all started in that office. But yeah, grew up in Utah, from Utah, and then currently live in Salt Lake, married with some kids.
Hell yeah, man. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So, let's get into it. You know, I want to talk about how we first met.
Okay, that was a story.
Yeah, so it's a pretty crazy story. I had one of my dogs, Kevo. It's a mutual friend of ours, and he was like, "Yo, what's up, man? I'm at the Burner concert backstage, and they need a barber." And I was like, "What? Hell yeah, I'll be there."
So, and I get a call from a friend of mine who, well, he became a friend of mine. I didn't know who he was, but he was part of Burner's crew, and he got caught with 74 pounds of weed. And yeah, exactly. You need to have one of those big like bong noises or something like that. Yeah. So anyway, he gets popped, and then he starts talking about Burner, et cetera. And I don't know who that guy was back then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I'm going to go to this concert.
Back in 2016.
Yeah, a long time ago.
So he started blowing up around that time. That's when he started really blowing up.
For sure. And so I get invited to go to this show, ironically at a future client's venue called The Complex. And I see this barber backstage and talking to a mutual friend of ours named Kevo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've never had my hair cut backstage before. So I'm going to do this. And I don't know any other lawyer that could actually say that either.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a flex.
That is. So anyway, that's how I met Albert and then became more than just friends with Albert. I consider him family as well as like the people that I've met through this whole thing.
Right. Yeah. And likewise, man, it's been a blessing. Meeting you at a concert backstage, it was like, damn, this is crazy. Yeah, I'll cut you up. Cutting the DJ, cutting everybody. That it's crazy because that was around 26. It was in 2016, and it was maybe a week before I opened my shop. So
yeah. Well, and then I remember going to your shop, and it was by adult probation and parole.
Going to my boy's shop, the ones I
your
worked at.
boy's shop. That's right. And it was just 2 chairs, I think.
Yeah, a couple chairs.
And then you told me you had this idea where you had the spot in Murray, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And then you had, I forgot how many chairs, just a couple at first?
I started with one.
Uh-huh.
Had to close the windows because I didn't have enough money for the license. So started with the one, started cutting everybody up, putting the money back in. 2, and then from there.
Then you did a build out.
Yeah.
And then you had a whole bunch of chairs.
Yeah.
And I just watched your growth, and it's been incredible.
Yeah, that was around the time too. I think I remember being in my first shop, and then you were on the news.
Oh, really?
For that FLDS case.
Oh, that was the polygamous food stamp fraud case. So I don't know if everyone here that watches and listens or is aware of this, but the polygamists that are from the kind of like Orthodox Mormons is what I would call them. They lived in a place called Short Creek, and anyway, the federal government came down on them. My opinion was to try to split their religion. I don't believe in that religion. I'm not LDS, nor am I polygamist, but I think it was our government's heavy hand to try to break up someone's belief system, and I have a strong opposition to that. People should believe what they want to believe if it's a religion, no one's getting hurt. They try to say people are getting hurt, but the way they could get to them was by saying they were pooling all their funds for welfare, and they were saying that was a violation of the law. But through me, and I think we probably had 12 other lawyers on the case representing individual people, that we were able to get the case essentially like it was less than even a speeding ticket in terms of the actual result.
And that was federal.
That was federal court.
Were they charging them with it has to be felonies, right? If it's federal, I'm assuming. So
they were all charged with felonies, and all they had to do was take a class on how to disperse federal welfare funds, essentially. And then it would be dismissed.
This is how you're going to spend your food stamp money.
Exactly. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And my guy, his name was Mormon, one of the greatest guys ever. He was 6'7".
That was his name?
Yeah, it's Rulin' Mormon. He went by Mormon. And I met him the first time, and I said, how tall are you? And he's like, I'm 6'8". And I said, well, I'm 5'7". We're going to get along just fine. And sure enough, we became kind of friends. I appreciate, and it's probably why I like being a defense lawyer.
Yeah.
Is that I like learning from people, and he was someone that I was able to learn from.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's why I like cutting hair, because I'm like, dude, I learn from everybody.
You can, and I think
from the little thugs to the big execs.
It's probably what makes you a good barber, and that you can talk to other people. It's kind of what I think is I won't call it a talent, because I think it's inherent. Well, I mean, it's inherent. But if you thoroughly enjoy people, you're going to learn from somebody new every day.
Right.
Every day you meet.
Right.
And you have to look at each person, even the person on the street that's like asking for $1, or someone that's here on a conference and they're walking downtown. It's like, if I took the opportunity to talk to this person, there's something I can learn from this person that I don't already know.
And in barbering, I feel like that's one of the craziest life hacks too, because I've watched dudes come through the door and people might just kind of be like, hey, what's up, man? Like, not really too eager to take them. And me personally, I'm like, what's up, man? How you doing? I'll take care of you. And then I start cutting them, and the dude's like, yeah, I own a crane business, or I own it. And I'm like, damn, really? Wow. And some of my best clients have actually came from walk-ins, random walk-ins, and the dudes just look average, right? Like, a lot of successful people don't dress all super nice, and flashy.
Yeah.
I'm just like, damn, what the hell?
Well, I think of like the people on your roster of clients that I know. I mean, one's a former Division I football coach, like a hero to most Utahns.
Right.
And you've got successful business people, tech people.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so. It's a blessing. I love what I do. I think I'm gonna cut hair forever.
Yeah, that's
even
good.
If it's like a little bit of time, but I enjoy what I do.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think it is great.
Hell yeah. So I wanted to start with, when did you know you wanted to be a lawyer? Like, what made you want to be a lawyer? Because I know me personally, bro, when I was younger, I like to argue, bro. And I always would think, I'm like, dude, I would love to be a lawyer. Like, it's competitive. You know what I mean? So, like, what got you to that spot?
It's interesting. I knew one lawyer growing up, but it was like a friend's dad, and didn't have anything in common with him at all. He just seemed very stately.
What kind of lawyer?
I think he was a personal injury lawyer, but also did general litigation in a small town in Utah.
Okay, so he was able to do.
Yeah, but he was like the fancy. He looked tall, white guy, gray hair, drove a forest green or British racing green Jaguar, like a fancy kind of lawyer. But he was just a very neat guy.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have any other skills, I would say. But I started debating in high school, my junior year. Yeah, when I was junior year, I would have been barely 16. I used to sign my name, Joel Kittrell, future Esquire, which I look back on like that's so cheesy.
But I mean, you spoke it into existence. You're like, you knew what you wanted to be.
Yeah, I knew what I wanted to be. I was raised by my mom. My father died when I was really young. I was 6. He wasn't a lawyer, though. I think I had heard stories that he was going to go to law school once he retired out of the military.
Oh, okay.
But it was just something that I wanted to do, and then I kind of gave up on the dream in college because my grades certainly took a hit, and I had to figure out a way to get out of that hole. But I was able to figure out that step I had to take, and then got into law school and just try to work what I could in law school to get where it was.
Was it tough? A lot of homework?
Law school is tough. You're reading maybe sometimes 400 pages a night that you're brought home to. And there's some people I think that are gifted that can do it maybe without reading each page.
Right.
For me, I would spend all the time reading it because it didn't come natural to me.
Right.
But yeah, that was tough. College, though, I mean, I was a different person. I was pretty reckless and had a good time. And I still tell people now, if they struggled, say, in college, which I think can be the same in regular, life experiences generally. If you struggle, if you can just kind of right your ship, kind of fix where your problems were, your shortcomings, you can still accomplish what you want to do. It just might take a little bit longer.
Right.
So that's what happened to me.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Then 2001, I graduated law school, joined the public defender's office. Then about 5 years after that, was recruited to go into a bigger law firm, a civil law firm, because they needed a lawyer that could just go into court. And since I spent every day in court as a public defender, the transition was easy.
Yeah.
And then slowly I started building my own criminal defense practice. And so out of 30-something lawyers at the time in my firm, I was the only one that did criminal defense and just built my own practice.
Nice.
And then slowly started doing federal work too, which is completely different than doing state and municipal work. It's a next level of craziness.
Yeah. So I bet when you did state, did you, because knowing you, you're just genuinely good person. You got a good heart. Like, do you feel like when you were doing that, you was able to help a lot of people and really just kind of guide them? And
yeah, I think that's what kind of gave me joy, because it was a struggle too.
Right.
Because I'm out of law school. I just had my first daughter, and I'm like, I got to be able to pay these bills, but I'm only making, I think it was like $38,700 a year.
Wow.
I think that's how much I made in 2001
Wow.
as a public defender. Now they start out at over 100.
The public defender straight out of school, they start making 100.
I think they're making at least 100.
So this was in 2001 when you was making that much.
And I just bought a house.
Inflation went crazy.
Inflation went crazy, but still, that's not a lot of money.
Right. No.
But it was important for me to be able to spend time with my family and not work all the time, but also to help people, and genuinely felt that I was able to help people, learn about people. A lot of people that go through the public defender's office, they are mentally ill, they're addicted to drugs.
Right. Then
some others are just, they make a bad mistake, and you're just trying to help them fix that mistake.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. That was probably, you probably got some stories for days about that.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I bet I would enjoy that. Okay. So as far as your success, what was some of the hardest parts of your journey? Like, was it in school? Was it the right after school? Was it trying to build your reputation? Because I know you eventually you're on your own, right?
Yeah.
So what do you, because I feel like when you open a business, you could be good at what you do, but then you're opening the business, it's like a little bit different, because you're not just focused on what you do, you're actually having to build the business and promote yourself and market yourself.
That's a good question. I think I got lucky, but to answer the first part, the hardest part, of course, was leaving, say, being a public defender, and then having to learn a new system of law, which at the time was like doing civil litigation.
Oh, okay.
Working for insurance companies at the time for the most part, which was very boring, and that's clearly not me.
Yeah.
So then as I started building criminal cases at that firm, and then trying to work, and I became, so eventually...
So you was doing it on the side while you're building the...
Yeah, I was doing it at the firm.
Oh, okay.
Building, I would just get referrals from within the firm and start working the case. So I'm trying to build my reputation up there, because I enjoyed I've always enjoyed doing criminal defense work. And then finally leaving that point to starting my own firm, that was a big leap of faith.
Right.
Because at the old place, we profit shared, we had a salary, but then I'm like jumping off this safety net.
Right, and I'm sure they they give you leads. You got a lot of people coming from the business.
I did start out with some leads, but then eventually, you work on a few cases, you meet people. People like yourself would refer me a case or two or whatever, and then you just kind of go from that, and it just builds momentum as long as you are, I think, an honest person, a fair person, and then just respecting everybody that comes in your door.
I'm sure it's kind of like barbering, right? Like, we do a good haircut, we do a good service, and if we do everything we're supposed to do and we build that personal relationship with them, they bring their people, their friends, family, and stuff like that. So
it's the same kind of trust.
I'd imagine, right.
I mean, I know, sometimes we do a case or a felony for somebody and their life can be impacted, they can go to prison, but someone going in there for a haircut, like, people, especially men's, their hair is very important to them and how it looks.
For sure.
My son's a perfect example. Like, when he comes in town and goes to your shop, he wants a certain kind of lineup.
Probably by a certain barber too.
He does. He does.
Yeah, because he sticks to his barber. His barber's real particular, good attention to detail. So
exactly. So I think there is. I've never really thought about it until that question, but yeah, there's a lot of parallels. I think in barbering, and then individual customer service. Even if I was a medical professional or a dentist, it works the same way.
Right.
But thank God I'm not either one of those.
Right. Me too.
Yeah.
So as far as your criminal defense career, do you feel like there was a big case that just kind of put you on that, was there a big win that you made that just built you the confidence, or a big stepping stone?
It's funny that when I did help someone out of Burner's crew, word got out, and then people would hire me.
Right.
Or they would come in just to consult with me.
Right.
Just so they could say that they had the same lawyer as Burner, even though I didn't represent Burner. I just represent one of his good friends.
Yeah.
Now, I'm friends with Burner.
Right.
He called me Lincoln Lawyer whenever we go FaceTime or something like that. But he's just a great artist,
Yeah.
And he's a great individual.
Yeah.
But then there was one case. This guy was previously convicted of rape. I didn't represent him on that case. And he came from privilege. He had drugged the cleaning person. I think it was GHB. Damn. She passed out. He testified that he basically had sex with her. He was trying to argue it was consensual. It wasn't. He went to prison. Then he goes out after he does his time, and he's on the sex offender registry. And he hooks up with this girl. They go back to his house. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have intercourse. She wakes up in the morning and tells her boyfriend in a text, "I think I was just raped." Well, what this client did was that night he went out with her, he told her all of the facts of his original sex case.
Man.
So after she calls her boyfriend and says, "I think I was raped," she interviews with police, and she says that my client did A, B, C, and D. Exact same thing that he admitted, or that he testified that he did in the previous rape case where he was convicted.
Right.
So he gets held in jail. Well, anyway, through a bunch of work.
Probably no bail.
No bail, of course.
No bail, just, yeah.
And he's just sitting there. And he had a minimum mandatory of life because he'd be a previously convicted sex offender at the time. So I knew this guy from college, and one thing I knew about this client is that he's a lot of things, but he's definitely not a liar. He's never lied to me. And he said I didn't do it. And so through using an investigator, we were able to finally get all the evidence together where the DA calls her in, and she admits she made it up. And they asked her, "Why'd you make it up?" And she's like, "I don't know." So this was early in my private criminal defense practice that this case happened. Fast forward to January 8th of this year.
Yeah.
A client of mine who he recently sold the complex, was charged in federal court for this like the biggest case of my life. Okay. And so he hired me to represent him on a case that involved money laundering, which was $10 million. And we admitted that it was 5,000 pounds of weed that he distributed. But if they looked at the numbers that he told the FBI in a debrief, it was more like 7.5 tons of weed. So anyway, I brought another lawyer along, one of the best lawyers in California, a good friend of mine, Jeremy, and who's just like basically if there's a legal genius that I've ever worked with, it's Jeremy.
Didn't he just defend NBA YoungBoy too?
Yes.
Yeah,
he did NBA YoungBoy.
Yeah, I met him through you as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jeremy's just a great guy. I did have a piece of NBA YoungBoy. I defended him on a license plate light case.
Oh, really?
Not the case of a lifetime, but enough that I told
I defended NBA YoungBoy. Oh yeah, what'd you do? None of your business.
Just
it's confidential. Don't worry about it.
That's exactly right. Yeah, just enough so I could tell my son, and then my son was convinced that I was going to have him show up at his college or his high school graduation. But anyway, NBA YoungBoys listening, shout out to you, man. My pleasure to help you with that license plate light violation. So. Anyway, we work on that complex case, and it was a federal court, and it was years and years and years of litigation.
Yeah.
And we work the government, so it's between 0 and I think 48 months on the top end. They, of course, recommend the top end.
48
We
months,
recommended
so that's
0.
like 3-4 years, a little over 4 years.
Yeah. And the federal judge on the case, he adopted every one of our arguments that we made in our pleadings. And because, there's a strong movement in the United States where THC is legal. It's legal in the majority of states, in one format or the other.
Right.
That there was no harm to anyone in the growing of this marijuana or selling it, meaning no guns were involved,
Right, yeah,
no violence.
No crazy Chapo case.
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
And the federal government spent so much money on this case and they had all the resources. They basically had a military out there trying to prosecute him.
Really?
Meaning you've got like 3 or 4 federal agents. You've got a large U.S. attorney's office. My client had me, another lawyer, and our investigator or mitigation specialist. So, but we won. He got 0 days jail and couldn't happen to the GOAT. Like, he is the greatest of all time of clients because he deserved it. He's done a lot of work. He's helped out people in the community, and that case garnered a lot of media attention.
Right. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So, I mean...
So that was a big dub.
That was a big W for sure. And then, that kind of makes me think of like how to approach the media in some of these cases.
Right.
So there's some lawyers out there that are more about promoting themselves. So they'll call news conferences or I was co-counsel on a case once where I didn't want any attention on a case. Right. And it was actually that one rape case that got dismissed. But my co-counsel called the news, had them outside the courtroom so he could give an interview about the result. Wow. Where it was more important for our client who just wants to be under the radar, especially since he's
embarrassing anyways.
Exactly.
You don't want to put that on the news.
So we lost a news cycle, a year before when he was first arrested because it was in the press.
Right.
But he called a press conference. I left. I was pissed.
You're like, hell no. Yeah.
Exactly.
But he was more looking at like, hey, hire me.
Yes, exactly.
Which I'd imagine you don't specifically want to deal with them type of cases all the time anyway, so it's not like you're going to...
No, but I have a lot. I mean, I've got a lot of sex cases right now, and for anyone listening, you've got to really be careful who you associate with and your people that you hang out with and tell your youngins to do the same.
Right.
Because there definitely is a movement to contact law enforcement at sometimes when there's no crime committed, just for different motives.
And if something does happen, they're taking you to jail, they're labeling you, you're looking bad. And it, like, at the beginning, whenever you get charged with something, just people, society, they automatically look at you like you're guilty.
Yeah, it's tough. That case involving the marijuana distribution case at large, when I was telling you about, we're coming out of the courthouse, and I see that there is a television camera out there.
Right.
And I was a little nervous at first. I'm like, I could just, I was offered to go out the back way in the federal courthouse because of our relationships with the marshals. Like, no, because I knew that one of the persons in the courtroom had already talked to the media and badmouthed my client's company with no foundation at all. So that was the only time I gave the interview intentionally to
And was it at the end or during?
It was at the end. It was right when we walked out of court.
Right.
The cameras are there, and I addressed just point blank that the allegations by my clients, what we'll call so-called competitors, that they thought that they were unfairly competed against, just wasn't proven in court. And it's true. That's kind of what was shown in court. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, the media has to be very carefully how a lawyer presents it. And I think a lawyer, as well as anyone else, needs to recognize, don't do it for self-promotion. Do it if there's a certain message that needs to be...
Do it for the greater cause in a sense of like trying to be selfish, because that could...
That's what I think, because I think if you want...
you still want to have the trust of the client, right? And if they see like, damn, he just threw me under the bus to look good on the camera, like...
Yeah, it's not...
You're not a good person.
No. I mean, if you want to promote yourself, take out a radio ad.
Right. And then how do you deal with those high-pressure situations like court, trial, like... I'm sure you've been doing it for a lot of years, but do you ever get nervous? You're ever like, oh shit,
One thing I will sometimes do is if I have a client that's, say if it's not really big serious case, and
Yeah.
they're looking stressed outside the courtroom, I'll come up to them and I'll look at them and I'll say, "Are you as nervous as I am?" That usually gets them to loosen up a little bit once they realize I'm joking.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a degree of maybe a little bit of nervousness, but I try to make sure that doesn't happen by just being prepared. I want to be the smartest one in the courtroom on any given issue, which, at least in my mind, that's what I'm trying to be. Now, there's brilliant lawyers, brilliant judges, and so I'm saying that very liberally in the sense, sure, there are plenty of geniuses that are, well above my caliber in terms of intelligence. But I just try to stay calm, and I try to just be aware of all the facts I need to know at the given moment.
You do your due diligence before you even start.
That's exactly right. Just make sure I'm not caught off guard by anyone.
Because I feel like, you seem like you're real competitive, just like I'm real competitive from what I know from you and just your different cases and stuff like that. So
I do. I have like this mythical trophy case is what I call it. Like if you were to look in this mythical trophy case, you'll see that one involving that giant drug case where the guy got no time.
Right.
You'll see sex cases that were dismissed. You'll see assault cases that were dismissed or won at a jury trial. DUIs and bad facts like that. So I am competitive, but I think it's a healthy competitiveness.
Right. Yeah, it's for a good cause. You're trying to help people. You're looking at the case. You're studying it.
But at the same time, there are some lawyers whose approach is they're competitive and then they're just out for blood on every single minute. And I don't think that benefits all your clients, because if you take a hard-ass approach on one case or on every case, you're going to lose. You're like the boy that cries wolf.
Yeah, you're going to lose more times.
Yes. And so I just try to always try to stay calm and just try to be a gentleman about everything.
Right. That way you're kind of making rational, logical decisions rather than fuck that, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I lost my mind on a city prosecutor a few weeks ago on a simple Class B drug paraphernalia case. Really? I thought she was taking a hardline approach where she wanted a conviction, and my client's been in 2 years of therapy and treatment. Yeah. And I was just really battling with her, and then I think it took me about 4 days later, and I called her and I apologized for my feelings at the time, and she's like, "I understand, I appreciate it. You're very passionate about the issue." And I said, "Yes, I am," but I repaired that relationship with that prosecutor. My client got a good result.
Oh, okay. That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's got to be important. It's got to be good lessons right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So is there any lessons that you learn in the courtroom that carries over to everyday life or, business or anything like that?
It almost sounds cheesy, but say be true to yourself, I think, and who you are, because if you act like someone you're not, it's going to fail.
Right.
The very first jury trial that I did, I was a third-year law student, and you can do a trial as a third-year law student as long as there's a supervising lawyer.
Oh, really?
So there was a show called Matlock on.
Yeah,
I never watched, but it was like...
I know, yeah. The courtroom one.
Yeah, courtroom. The guy's 80 years old, small town.
Yeah.
So...
Shit, come on at late at night.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was this rail, like a jury rail. And so this jury is sitting behind this rail, and I go up to the... And it was... My client was charged with assaulting a cop. The cop was off duty, but it came out he was a cop.
Yeah.
And so I slowly approached this jury box, and I put my arm on there, and I talked to him like I'm a country folk almost. We got the win.
Really?
Yeah, because they didn't believe the prosecutor, but it wasn't me. I was pretending I was someone I'm not. That's definitely not me. I got lucky. I should have just been true to myself, talked in a relaxing tone.
Right.
Didn't try to put my arm up like I was some folksy country lawyer. But it was... I think I don't know how I
saw
got
it out of an episode, and you're like, hold up, man.
Exactly.
Let me try this real quick.
I think I could act. So,
and you won.
But we won. We got lucky because I shouldn't have messed with that. But it was my first trial, and I tried it out. It worked, but I haven't tried it since. I don't think that's just not me.
Yeah.
But so you asked, just be true to yourself as you try to work through things, and never give up on goals. I mean, There was a time in college where my grades were so poor, I got asked to take time off from the university as an undergrad because I was having way too much fun.
Really?
And if I would have given up on my dream, who knows what I would have been doing something I don't have a good skill for doing. That's working with people as a lawyer.
Right.
But I just didn't give up on it. I worked hard. I focused, and then got through law school by focusing and just surrounding myself with people that support me.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that even if you fall off track and, you know, you kind of just live life and have fun, sometimes that kind of helps you relock in, because you're like, cool, I got that out of my system.
Yeah.
Then you're just like, yo, let me lock in now. Like,
That's
I don't really want to be that person all the time. Like, my goal is bigger than that, and I can see what partying, chilling, or whatever that looks like.
You know, I get teased a lot from like my friend group of guys and golfers that I hang out with, because I probably drink a Coke Zero or 3 every round. You know, some of my buddies, they'll pound beers and drinks, and that's just not me. And I think it's one, it's because of my age, and 2, I've always been kind of paranoid, but especially doing a lot of DUIs.
Right.
Like, I can't afford to end up in jail. Like, I can't lose my license. And if anyone out there is thinking about that, you can afford it too. You really can't, because it's a tough lesson to have.
It's expensive, time, money, inconvenience.
Drive around your car with a breathalyzer, which is terrible. So
it's crazy.
This episode brought to you by Intoxilock, or whatever they are. Yeah.
And oh yeah. So
what motivates you
to
every day to be better? Because that's what I've noticed about you, is like you're always trying to better yourself. You read more like self-awareness, not self-promotion.
Yeah, like self-development.
Self-developmental books than I ever come close to. I mean, one, I don't read those, and it seems like I hardly read other than work stuff.
Yeah.
But since I've known you, you're always trying to improve yourself.
Right.
So what motivates you to do that?
I think when I was younger, I've always had the fascination of like doing better and just having fun, living life. And obviously I fell off track when I was younger. And then now as I get older, I'm like, damn, dude, like I'm behind. You know, even though it's not like 100% accurate, but I try to keep myself in that mindset of like, I'm behind. I need to do better. I should do more, because I think what I want to be as far as a role model to my kids, to my family, to the people around me. You know, didn't have a lot of money growing up, and I really like nice things, you know. And selling drugs when I was younger actually let me get some nice things, like real quick. But then you skip the lessons. So when I want to get like I still want nice things, but I don't want to. Obviously, I understand that if I skip steps, I miss the lessons. So now I'm like, okay, cool. What do I got to do to better myself to get more? Like, for instance, my barber shop, right? Like, I've always had, like, I would have 1 barber, 2 barbers, 3 barbers, 4, and I try to grow. But I learned from every single barber that leaves, right? Like, because there's a time where I was like, man, that dude was late all the time. Like, oh, they were this, they were that. Like, I sat there and just blamed the barber why they left. But really, who was losing out on the money? Who lost out on the leadership? Like, I'm supposed to be a mentor, and they're not doing all this. So it got to a point where I'm like, I need to take accountability. And there was times where I had to look for guidance. Like, how do I do that? You know, and I have great friends, great support system. But then, you know, it got to a point where I can't just bug people every single step of my life. And I didn't learn a lot growing up. So now I really love learning. And the answers to those questions that I had myself were inside those books. Mm-hmm. So I found that, you know, if I want to work on myself and I look at the right books and I have the right mentors that can guide me towards those books, it helps me just be a better person.
Let me ask you this. No, I'm taking over. Now you're in the hot
No, you're
seat.
good, man. Let's go. Let's get it.
So, you know, you read these books, and I know just talking to you when I'd sit in your chair and stuff, like you would have meetings at the shops.
Right.
And it's almost like you're trying to teach these lessons to some of these young barbers too.
Right.
So obviously it helps you and your bottom line if your young barbers are producing.
Right.
But, and explicitly there, it is completely helping out these young barbers.
Right.
Did you have a mentor as you started a barber, or because you didn't have one, you're now trying to be a mentor to these young guys?
So, yeah, I had my barber was a really great mentor towards me, but he was more there to kind of guide me like as a man, you know, and teach me the skill. But as far as like the actual barbering, a lot of the stuff, I was so hungry to be successful that I would just learn. I would watch. I would constantly, just watch different videos of cutting hair and just study it. I got obsessed, bro, because I'm just like, I want to learn how to be good. And I feel like back in 2000, 15, 16, the barber game wasn't super big out here in Utah. So I had a vision of like doing videos and having a real cool urban and being like a staple in Salt Lake. So I just never really looked at anybody else and what they were doing. I looked at how am I going to compete against myself and be better? Like, fuck the competition, bro. Like, I want to be my own competition. And that's kind of where I created the path and just learned things and skip steps, essentially. Because a lot of the people that were in class with me, that we were in school at the same time, like, they do great. But as far as multiple locations and stuff like that, like, I felt like I was able to achieve that because I was so hungry at learning. So now fast forward, now that I have my own shop, I know that I like to be around people that like to teach and mentor, because even besides barbering, I had mentors in business, in friendships, and just every different realm. And I value those relationships. Like Ivan, you introduced me to Ivan.
Yeah.
And he has done so much as far as like coaching me and teaching me, because I was always asking questions. Like, I love to ask questions. Like,
Because you can learn something from somebody.
Yeah. And Ivan, dude, like, barbering is dope because, like, dude, I'm asking like a rich ass dude crazy questions, and he's just hella cool, just giving me the game. So sometimes I remember that, and I'm like, I want to be that person for these other guys that work for me.
Yeah.
I want to teach them. Like, I wasn't able to get a house until like 3-4 years into barbering. I want to teach my barbers to be able to get a house 2 years into barbering. Like, I want you guys to be better than me. I want to teach you guys how to make $2K a week minimum. As I got dudes that are 20 years old, 19 years old, making $2,000 a week. Sometimes that's $100K a year.
Dang.
Cutting hair, bro. Like, talking shit, chilling with the homies, like listening to music. And
yeah.
To me, I get more satisfaction like watching these dudes win, because I help coach them and they're coachable just like me. That it's like me just helping my younger self out in a sense. But
Ivan's a great example. You should have him on your show.
Yeah, for sure.
Because one, he's dynamic, but two, the way you guys. The fact that Albert was able to get this guy who sold a company for millions of dollars to come start hanging lights, hanging mirrors,
yeah.
like drilling holes and stuff like that is just the best story ever.
Yeah, that was awesome, man.
But dude, I
try to hang up myself, and he's like, "What are you doing, Albert?" And I'm just like, "I don't know, bro. I'm not hanging."
Dude, I mean, you inspire me too. Like, in different ways. Like, I'm not gonna open up different law firm offices. Because I don't want to manage anyone else.
Right.
I want to manage myself. But the way you are constantly trying to improve yourself, that's key. And then I also noticed with you that, so not just business-wise, but your kids, like you take a very active role in all your kids. Yeah. And that's key to you.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know if you share that with your barbers, but I also think when I judge the people I hang out with, it's people that do the same.
1000%. Yeah.
Whether they're the lawyers or whether my golf buddies or whatever. These are people that are just very involved with their kids. Right. I think that's important because you want to help that next generation of kids. Right. Kind of like you were saying, like, have at least whatever they need. Like, your kids didn't go without, because you worked and you hustled.
Yeah, and I look at it, too, as like you said, your friends and people. Over the years, I realized who was real good friends, real good people, real good dads, and the same thing, like, judging how good of a dad you are, how active you are. And, like, if I could talk to you and be like, man, I'm dealing with, my son's in high school and he wants to do, and if we could talk and relate to that,
yeah,
it's dope.
Yeah.
But if I talk to somebody else and they're like, oh, yeah, and they're not active and they're not around them, it's kind of just like, I just, by default, I lose a little bit of respect. And I'm just like, I can't be around people like that, because I feel like I like to be around people that are better so I can learn better. You know what I mean? So 100%. If you're an active father, I'm going to learn something from you.
Yeah. It's kind of like when people will say this, and I hate keep going back to golf. It's just something that I love to do. I'm horrible at it, but I just love to do. But when you play with a really good golfer who's a positive person, you're going to play better. Something happens. Can't explain it, but you just play better. But like you're saying, hang out with people that are good dads, you're going to be a better dad.
Right.
It's just...
You cut next to good barbers, you're going to be a good barber.
Absolutely.
So you are who you surround yourself with, essentially.
You are. So like right now at my law firm, I office share with 2 other lawyers, and we've got a really great dynamic where we all hang out. We give each other so much crap. I came back from this recent trip to Boston, go look in my office, and the entire floor is covered with all my papers in some weird ass art design that Alex put together. Just, I should be pissed, but I'm like, God, clap it up. I'll give him, but I'm going to get him back.
Right.
Anyway,
yeah. No,
cool.
I mean, that makes the world a difference, the people you surround yourself with. And for me, I feel like that was hard at the beginning because when I started cutting hair, when I started barbering, I was around all the people that I went to prison with. You know, all my homies went to prison. I used to, like, as dumb as that sounds, like when I was younger and I remember seeing somebody and I had just got out of jail and he was like our mutual homies friends and he's like, damn, you just got out of jail again? I'm like, yeah, you know, whatever. It was nothing. Just real quick bailed out. And he was like, what's next? Prison? I was like, shit, I don't care. I'm down. You know, I was like, I think about myself. I'm like, how stupid is that? Like, I damn near manifested that. Like, I was like, yo, like, I ain't tripping. Because in my head, at a younger age, I was like, all the homies been to prison. Like, you ain't shit. You don't have no status if you don't go to prison.
Oh.
You know? So, because that's what I grew up looking up to is like gangsters, drug dealers, and shit like that. So, you know, it was just a lack of positive influence that I had in my life. So, that's just kind of what was there.
Is that kind of like why you also feel such a strong mission to get back to some of these young kids?
Oh, 1,000%.
Like through the Ron McBride Foundation, when you go and speak to these kids.
Yeah, like a lot of the times, man, a lot of lives can get saved by people that, you know, like they could get ruined by people that are misguided and misguiding people. And they also, on the opposite end, if people have the right idea of what they want to do and they could really give them some inspiration, you could change a lot of lives, you know. Like, I'd love to promote people to, like, I like to plant the seed of barbering to a lot of people, because there's some people that I talk to and I'm just like, they'll ask questions about barbering and then I'm just like, they're good at talking and I'm like, you ever thought about barbering? And there's so many people over the years that I planted that seed as customers that end up working for me or working at another barbershop, but I try to just steer people towards that direction, you know, whether it's influencing them to cut hair, whether it's like, hey man, look at me, I could get tatted. Like, I'll go cut in the hood, you know, like I'll go do some free haircuts for everybody, and like, you know, for some of these schools,
like at the Indian incomes. Or at the Indian Walk-In Center, right? And
a lot of them, they look at me and they're like, oh man, this dude looks kind of familiar. Like, he has tattoos, gold chains, like he looks like a thug, like, you know. And then they get cut and talk to me, and you know, I'm telling them about, like, you know, some of them are little, they don't really understand business, but I'm planting the seeds. I'm talking to, you know, anywhere from, you know, first up to 8th grade, junior high, high school. So no matter what, my same mission, my same delivery, the statement, what I'm trying to get over to them is like, yeah, man, own a business, cut hair. Just you can do something good with yourself. Like,
don't ever stop doing that, because I think you make an impact on people.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it.
I think it's good. Like, that's one extra thing to, you know, thing that makes it nice to get up in the morning, is that, you know, you're going to go help somebody or help some kid or maybe change their life.
I'll tell you what, I charge a good amount for haircuts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, obviously
and you should.
And I'll have a full day, book day, and I'll make, you know, there's days I'll make like $1,000, and I'm not working too hard. I'm just cutting the right people, and I enjoy what I do, and I leave and I'm tired. I'm exhausted, you know. I'm just like, damn, man, that's a lot. You know, my social tank is just, social battery's gone. But if I go cut hair at one of these events and kid after kid is just like looking at the mirror, they're happy, they're smiling, you know, I'm joking around with them, their parents are looking at them like, oh my god, you look so handsome. Like, to me, I leave those and I could be free haircuts nonstop, back to back, bro. Everybody's like, hey, can I get next? I'll leave that shit, bro, and I'm happy. I feel fulfilled.
It's just a new...
bro, fuck money. Like, doing that feels good.
Well, you told me, like, some of these kids, it's the first time they've had a haircut in a whole year.
Yeah.
Like, once a year, twice a year?
Their whole lives.
Some
of these kids will get there, and they're used to just their dad buzzing their head, bald. So they've never been to a barbershop. They never had a razor fade. They never had a lineup. They never had somebody tell them, like, okay, here, look, let me do this. This might look good with your face. Or, you know, I'll just do what I do. I might throw a little design, dude. I throw little designs on those kids, bro, like on the side of their head, and they just go crazy, man. I see the other kids going up to them, hey, can I get a design next? You know, and it's a good feeling.
See, that's something I can't...
Because that's nothing to me.
Yeah. I can't give that to people, like kids, because, I mean...
Right,
hopefully these little kids aren't in that kind of trouble. But I think that's beautiful,
right.
You know. I think everyone should, no matter what you do, you're a better person when you figure out a way to help out, like
right.
that, whatever that is.
Right.
Like maybe for Ivan, it was like helping this young guy who was trying to make his business, start his business and doing it right, because someone helped him.
Right. And that's exactly what he told me too.
Oh, it is?
He's always told me that, like, yeah, I've had people come along in my life and help me.
Okay. So I think if we can all do that, we'll definitely live in a better place.
Right. Especially community, people around you, family.
Yeah, I think so. Wow.
Yeah. Cool, man. So if you could give one piece of advice to somebody grinding right now, whether they're trying to be a lawyer, a barber, or just anything else, like what's your advice to, somebody, the young viewers watching this, young, old, just whatever, whoever, any messages out there?
Well, I think it might be different when you're young to a degree, I guess, right? But it's to surround yourself, kind of what we were talking about, this theme, that surround yourself with people that's going to make you a better person, for instance, or challenge you, not just a yes person.
Right.
Like in my life, I got married my second year of law school. Law school is 3 years.
Wow.
And started our job, had our first child. And then near the end, we were going to have another child. And my wife, though, I credit her with always pushing me. Like, you need to do this. You need to leave the public defender's office and start building your brand at a big firm, help provide for the family a little more. And not in a pushy way, not so she could spend money, because she still worked too, but it was just because she knew that it was time for me to move to the next chapter.
Yeah.
And then once I did that for, I want to say, it might have been like 12 years at that old firm, she said, now it's time, you need to start your own firm.
Really?
And I was afraid because like the safety net's off.
Right.
But again, she pushed me, gave me the encouragement.
She believed in you.
She believed in me. She was like, absolutely, she believed in me. She was like, there are these other lawyers that she would see on TV, like you present yourself better than them. Like, she didn't know if they were better lawyers necessarily, but she thought the person.
But she heard the everyday conversation with you. You're sharp.
Yeah.
You're competitive. You're a dog. And
she could do it, and at the same time, I'd be able to spend more time with my family. I didn't have the billable hour requirement at a big firm.
Right.
Where sometimes, if I work hard enough, I can take some vacation time with the family or travel to see them, which is important now since the kids are living on both coasts.
Yeah. In college.
Well, one's graduated and the other one's a freshman in college.
Man.
So and these are kids that have seen me through it all, and they inspired me. They, neither want to be lawyers, unfortunately. It's like, I don't know why they think
my kids aren't barbers. So.
That's true. But and I'm like, I represent rappers. I go to concerts like 4 times a week some summer nights, or summer weeks. But yeah, that's just not for them. But it all goes down to just surrounding yourself with people that will motivate you and push you. Right. Never surround yourself. I couldn't imagine if I was married to someone that would just say, yes, you're right, all the time.
Right.
Life would
or doubt you.
Or doubt me. Yeah, both extremes, right?
Right.
This is always just supporting you. You can do better. You can keep pushing.
That's a blessing.
That's exactly. It is.
It's a blessing.
And so luckily I found that. It's not like I created that, and now I try to always be that person for my kids.
Right.
Because
you see what it meant for you.
Yes. And then you can only want your kids to be surrounded by someone that motivates them. I know, like with all your children, you've motivated them to be athletic, to try to be motivated. Heck, do cold baths or whatever at 5 a.m. There was a time when you convinced me, I forgot what you called it. It was like, all right, I get up every morning at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. What was it? Was it 5 a.m.?
At one point, I was getting up at 4 something to be working out by 5.
And I remember, okay, I'll try to see how this works. See how much work I can get done before 6 a.m. I'd get up 5 a.m., go down to the couch, and then just fall asleep on the couch. I couldn't do it because I wasn't going to the boxing gym like you. I wasn't working out. I was just too tired.
If I were to do it right now, I'd probably have to make my pre-workout shake at night. And then as soon as I hear my alarm, just chug it or something, because it's hard.
That's what I do just to figure out what I'm going to wear in the morning when I'm leaving the house. If I'm getting up at like 7:30, I'm like, God, what am I going to wear this morning?
Yeah.
Different levels, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, I think surrounding yourself with people that motivate you and push you.
I agree.
They're good people.
Fire, Jim. All right, well, guys, that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much, Joel. I appreciate you showing up, man. I know you're a busy man. Your time's valuable, so.
Well, I love being here. I love talking with you, man. I grow every second. I honest to God do. Swear hand to God.
Hell yeah.
So it's great.
Right on, man.
All
Thank
right.
you guys for watching.